geology and entomology. They develop solutions and they take these solutions outside to the community and ensure that people are able to adapt or utilize the same solution that they've developed and utilize them to create businesses. We have government institutions like KP, for example, a research institution that is also promoting particularly innovation in all sectors in general, but also very key nowadays on the climate sector. For example, they've been helping us developing a product that withstands with soil health. They are helping others, for example, with very simple solutions like, for example, we have people who are doing food preservation in ways that have not been known here, for example.
So my close beyond here.
Yeah. Okay, and we have young people out here who have been doing research on how to drive very basic things like supermarket and packaging it because of the challenge of food security that has been occasioned by climate change. Yeah, institutions like KD are enabling them to actualize this dream, to turn this into sustainable businesses. Yeah, so these are just good examples of how research institutions can actually help with bringing out solutions that are practical and sustainable, driven particularly by the youth, who actually should be the ones driving the economy right now because they're the majority. Yeah. And we want that, if it is possible, the government to really consider such research institutions to enable this.
Yeah. And Dr. Carol, I'll come to you on that. It's all that on the question, but Governor Barasa and Governor Otichilo, come to you before we open up the floor for questions from members of the audience. How key is it then to offer that much needed critical balance between the development needs, of course, you budget for, from what comes from the exchequer, and environmental conservation, and the idea that any action you take is mitigative because scarce resource means possibilities of conflict, and which then makes up communities to fight. So how do you strike that balance given the resource constraints that the National Treasury always complains about?
Maybe I will start. Because of the importance of conservation and mitigation, that is why we have designated a budget for climate change mitigation strategies by requesting counties to budget at least 2%. From the Kakamega County perspective, we have budgeted 3% of the development budget, around 300 million Kenya shillings. This is counterpart funding. Support what they're getting from development partners. And this is critical because when you look at the devastating effects of climate action, it makes a very good business case to budget for the money. Because food security is extremely important. This region, for example, is agricultural-based region, and if you don't invest in strategies to mitigate against any threat to food security, then you not achieve your agenda. And that is why we are very conscious on at least having some mitigation strategies. I know the financing will not be enough, but that conscious approach of designating a particular percentage is important. And I also want to agree with Governor Otichilo that the sensitization must start from the grassroots in terms of making sure that every ward has climate planning committees who will come up with now specific measures for mitigation, adaptation, and community resilience. So because of the impact, you cannot just sit pretty. Otherwise, all the agenda items you have in the development, especially for food security, environment, you may not achieve them. And that is why that is an aspect that cannot be ignored. And we are very happy that the World Bank and other social actors are very keen to support investing in a climate change mitigation strategy, which becomes also one of the key areas of focus for the upcoming conference on the 14th.
God willing. Yes, Governor Chichela.
Yes, it's a very tricky situation. It's a balancing situation. But as Fernandez has said, we have realized that climate change is affecting all sectors of our economy. And unless we take measures, then we cannot achieve in any of the sectors. So one of the strategies we have agreed as a Council of Governors to mainstream climate change in all sectors of our economy. In all our departments, we have made policies, decisions that we mainstream. And some of the programs that we are implementing in any of the departments, be it agriculture, environment, road and infrastructure, we ensure that climate change component is part and parcel of that exercise to ensure that we mitigate and take adaptive measures to ensure that climate change matter is addressed. Equally, we as Council of Governors, we are involved again within the national government and various ministries to write project proposals that are sector-based. For example, currently we have a program called NAF-CDP on, for agriculture for all the 47 counties, where a big component of that funding is on how to promote smart agriculture in the counties. So that's what we are doing, but it is indeed not easy to have enough budget for the climate change because of its impacts across the board.
So we'll talk about the partners as well and the much needed voice that is to be conveyed. Prof, after the brief questions, the question around climate smart agriculture, you will respond to that, and Dr. Caroline, Alan has mentioned the importance of smallholder farmers and their contribution, and especially involving women who also make up the lion's share of smallholder farmers in our country. So, by show of hands, pointed. I'll take more sometimes. Yes, you have the microphone? Yes, my colleague will come and hand it over. So you start by your name.
I'm called Lucy Anjilu Mbugwa. I'm the Vice President, Kaimusi Friends University, and I'm so happy to see my lecturer and my governor on the podium. My question goes to both of the governors. You have talked about the financing, you are the council. Now I want to know what physical incentives could the county government introduce to encourage private sectors in green technology? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have noted. Next question. What physical incentives have the county government introduced to support? Right? Yes. The gentleman in the seat and then two. Right?
Good evening, everyone. My question goes to our able leaders, Bwana FCPF Barasa and our governor from Vihiga. You have said that Bwana Barasa said that he has budgeted from the county the 3% to create awareness maybe to the locals and to plan the budget from the world level. But we as people from the areas, we aren't seeing the process of the efforts being made by the county government to ensure that the awareness is there to the members and to the locals and women within the wards. Kindly tell us how, despite complaining about the finances, what about this 3% that you have budgeted? How is it being managed?
So the outcome and whether there is enough awareness around the same.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, the gentleman. So I'm sure you've started on a good trajectory. So we keep it short so we can pick many, okay? Yes, please. The microphone over here.
Thank you much for the chance. My name is George Manali, senior lecturer in Kaimosi Friends University. My question goes to the Vice Chancellor. That what percentage of your budget goes to climate action? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the gentleman, so I've taken three, will take the last one. Yes, in the half jacket. Yes, please. Yes. I'll come to the rest of you. Yes, please. The microphone is here.
Thank you for the chance. Vinod Adisi from Kaimosi Friends University. My question goes direct to the Governor of Vihiga County. Your Excellency Governor, what strategic plan does the county government have to support Kaimosi Friends University in becoming a center of excellence, especially in areas like research, innovation, and environmental sustainability that align with the county development goals?
Thank you. So respond to that. I'll start with Prof. There was a question for you from Alexa. So on the question of what percentage goes to climate action at this institution.
Thank you very much. Just like the governors illustrated and showed that most of their programs are actually geared or there's a climate change in it. The similar thing happens to us here. We check most of their programs, for example, in agriculture, in the disaster management school, in the School of Natural Sciences. All of them have something mainstreaming climate change. And that output approximately 30%. We also have 50 million allocated in Delhi for research. Just issues to do with the research. And half of the research is either in agriculture or disaster management. So we have put quite a lot of money there. But this is not enough for our lecturers or researchers. We want help for that.
Okay. Yes, Governor Ticho, first coming to you. One specific question for you as to how you would support Kaimosi Friends University on research, innovation, and other environmental activities.
Thank you for that question. Yes, Kaimosi Friends University and the county government of Vihiga, we have come into partnership through an MOU, and we have agreed to set up a center of excellency in climate action because we strongly believe that we need a lot of research and capacity building. And we felt, and therefore, we have established that center, and Caroline here is the coordinator of the program. And what we have agreed is that we will be able to mobilize resources through proposal writing, which we have already started. In fact, we have engaged ourselves with one of the universities in India. But we have also agreed that the university will be able to budget certain amount of money to run the center, and equally the county government will be able to budget through our own budgeting process resources to bring particularly building capacity for our people. So any of the training programs we will have, either for the community or for our technical people, we want that center to be the nucleus or the center of training.
Okay, and the other question for both of you governors, before I go to Dr. Caroline and Alan, fiscal incentives regarding and whether there is enough awareness around the allocation that, for instance, the government has 23%, and the outcomes, whether they are practical and impactful.
Well, in terms of the fiscal incentives, we have to look at it both from the national level and the county level, because most of the financing that we are getting from the development partners is external. So one of the incentives you can give at the national level is to have to make sure that the costs of doing business is reduced. review of the procurement process sometimes becomes very difficult or cumbersome to procure an activity that is a mitigating activity for environment. So it can become a fiscal incentive by making sure that the procurement and the legal framework is simplified. And also, we need to invest in water road infrastructure. And that is why we're investing a lot in the infrastructure, because that will also give the private investors an opportunity to invest more. Now, the 3% that I talked about are very cubic meters of water in actually a shortfall, and you have the operation of Savannah water processes around the year. We're putting 50 million finishes. We have done of dams just to make sure that we have sustainable food supply. So there are various dams that we have started to renovated in Lugari, Libuyani, etc. We have also done a lot of the issue of biomass fuels, and also awareness. Those local level planning committees. There are a lot of capacity building programs which are undertaken because we want the local communities to have local solutions for purposes of mitigation, adaptation, and sustainability. So there are quite a number of programs that we've done, including rehabilitating various water schemes which are actually been abandoned. So investment in the infrastructure, water, irrigation. We have also done a lot of water springs. So all these required, we have also taken care of in the counterpart funding of the state.
Yeah. And Dr. Caroline, yes, and what you said, apart from what you have said, we have undertaken climate change risk assessment in all the wards. So the programs, the investment programs, are based on those reports to know exactly each of the wards, what are the climate risk areas, and then how we have put in mitigation and adaptation measures. And all the sectors he has talked about is what has been given priority. And this is done by the communities themselves. The committees make the proposals, and the county governments or provide funding, which then ensures that the projects are done, and the communities carry out the monitoring and evaluation, and eventually we hand over the projects to the communities.
And Dr. Caroline, other than the partnership, especially in the context of the investment made in the institution where you lecture, how has that proved to be a solid foundation based on the effects of climate that you have talked about at this level? For instance, Governor Barasa has pointed out the lengthening of the water bases in Kakamega County and the Mid, which speaks basically to population density and people's activity. But how is the partnership like your institution and the county government are proving to be a foundational solid that comes up with the required answers and measures to address this topic?
The Center of Excellence in Climate Action and Research, Kaimusi Friends University, which is in partnership with the county government of Vihiga and the institution where I lecture, I have to say that it's really a game changer on issues climate change, in the manner that this center has mainly 4 goals. The first goal is research, because the university is a place where we have all the experts, and like my institution has 5 schools: economics, computing, health sciences, education, and sciences. So you can imagine how many experts are in this institution. So anything to do with research, you can be sure we can be able to handle all aspects regarding research, be it in water, energy, health, and so on and so forth. Number 2, this center is for capacity building, and as our governor put it clearly, we thought wise that if we have the center to bring people on board and we can train them on few issues like climate smart agriculture, simple technologies, on energy, then that is very good for us. And thirdly, this is a center where we want to package data information. As you realize, Ayub, information on climate is quite rare and sometimes not given on time. And so what we are doing at Kaimosi Francis University in collaboration with the county is to give real-time data so that we can be able to tell farmers. We saw what happened in Kericho. There was a lot of hailstones. So if we can be able to tell that on time, then we can be doing very well. And that is one of the other objectives of this particular center. So I think we are really doing well as a center. And I really want to thank Governor Otitilo for really being the forefront and enabling Kaimosi Francis University to be the leading institution in this region.
Yeah, just to add on that, we would want to really request the council to ensure that at least climate change is mainstreamed in all the courses in the University of Kaimosi, so that every student has a chance to do at least a unit on climate change, because we believe that climate change should be mainstreamed across board to everybody.
Thank you. Alan, I'll come to you because there's an interesting thing that happened after the break, and I'll start with you. When the King Charles came here, he was fancied by organic farming. It's something that he has written about constantly since the 1970s when he was still the prince. So we'll talk about the threat of urbanization and the spaces that are growing small in that context and how we sustain smallholder farming and agriculture, the need to forestall the hailstones that Dr. Caroline talked about, for example, Kericho County, and also the water shortage in parts of Kakamega County, the question of drought in the northeastern part of the country, and holistically address this matter. Of course, not forgetting the global call needed for the big polluters to pay for the consequences of the action. This is a special edition of The Bench coming to you from Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology in Kakamega County. And we are back with the climate conversation after the break. Shall we go to the stage?
Got me so fresh, so clean, yes, I'm awake to flamingo, so glowing, softness, all the moisture, yeah. Big shower, na flamingo, so flamingo, so what do you like to call them? Oh, flamingo, your beauty and hand brushing me, oh, flamingo, so on your flow with flamingo, so. Brush your teeth twice a day, in the morning and at night, for at least 2 minutes each time. Introducing the new Colgate Total Active Prevention System. It's 15 times more effective at fighting the root cause of many oral issues. The new Colgate Total helps stop problems before they start. Dial *811 *415# to get Mwala as your teaser tune.
It's big, bigger than you can imagine. It's massive. It's the biggest jackpot. The biggest super jackpot sahili 100 million. Yes, predict 17 games, na 99 bob, no dishikiyo 100 million. Bonuses from 13 correct predictions. No kipata sote wrong. Usiwori, bado kuna bona. Hii ndio jackpot. Shabiki super jackpot is now at 100 million. To play, download app ya Shabiki on Play Store or SMS SJE to 29063.
Gaming is addictive. Play responsibly. Not for persons under the age of 18. Shabiki.com is authorized and regulated by BCLP. License number PK 0001080. The Linda Mama program was a great program.
Linda Mama and others, replaced by new, untried, untested schemes.
He's reviving the 2022 script.
They left us with 30 billion fictitious NHIF debt.
So explain somewhere about where does it end?
To the defense of my former boss, the former president.
Did we weigh this properly?
Hiyo linda mama pekee inalinda mama, inalinda mzee.
We need to see what exactly is the vision.
Na tumekataa wheelbarrow ile ya yellow. Sasa iko ka wheelbarrow anatengeneza ya blue.
Wacha si tupewe hiyo mnaita red wheelbarrow.
So you're saying the Shagu and Ruto are working together?
He said it himself.
Can never be led by bitterness, anger, or hate.
But you are truly is seeking a single term, one term.
Akiteleza huyo mjue ni nani? Msaliti.
Betrayal and dishonesty, the currency of our politics.
News Gang every Thursday at 9 p.m. Don't miss it.
But we are coming to you live from Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, talking climate change, the consequences, and at the level of the Lake Region Economic Bloc here. The governors from the counties of Kakamega, Fernandez Barasa, and his counterpart from Vihiga, Wilbur Otichilo, are with me on the bench, coming to you from the university here in Kakamega County. In their company is Professor Solomon Shibairo, the Vice Chancellor of this institution. Dr. Caroline Mulinya is a senior lecturer at Kaimos Branch University, and Alex Legare is the Chief Executive Officer of Missouri Organics, also making a part of the panel this evening here in Kakamega County. Alex, I was on you, and ideally talking about then organics and spaces that are thinking, how does climate smart agriculture feasible given the organization, the constant movement of people from the rural areas to urban centers?
Thank you. That's a good question. Spaces are shrinking very fast, and it's time that we adopt this. New methods of producing food from very small projects, very efficiently, in a way that we can produce large quantities of food within small spaces. For example, we know for sure that the problems are important, and due to further use of chemicals, we are killing the soil slowly but surely. And with time, what happens is that when you farm on a parcel of land, say 1 acre, starting from a parcel that used to be, say, forest land, you will start with very high yield, close to 40 bags an acre, and within a short, say, 10 years or so, you are going as low as 4, 6 bags from 1 acre. And sometimes it's not even about the spaces having shrunk, but it's about also the soils having been degraded beyond levels that they could produce for us sufficient food. Either way, we still think that it is possible for us to produce quite a good chunk of food using climate smart technologies, like, for example, we have the hydroponic systems, we have the tower gardens that you can put on the balconies and produce food without ever needing to go to the market. And for farmers, for example, who are doing poultry farming, pig farming, fish farming, they can produce a very high quality protein using very small spaces, breeding insects, a technology that requires probably a tenth of the space you need to produce same quantities of soya, for example. Yeah, so these technologies are there, and it's just about embracing them and utilizing them as the need arises, because the need has arisen already.
Yes, drop that tempo.
In terms of climate agriculture, this university is doing a lot towards it. For example, right now we are partnering with ICARI to produce a high protein, high yield Napier grass, and that can be used by farmers for zero grazing. So we don't have to have our cows jogging all over. They do zero grazing and they produce very high level of milk. Then apart from that, we're also diversifying livelihoods for farmers. So for example, this county never used to produce coffee, but we have engaged in it, and the university is producing island seedlings for that. Then we are producing seedlings for mango, as well as avocado, and we also, in terms of dairy, we are also motivating our farmers to go full blast, zero grazing, instead of the traditional breed. But we have improved cattle breeds such that we are no longer depending on the traditional ones, which used to produce very little milk, but now they produce a high level of milk. We are also working on short maturing varieties of sugarcane, so that sugarcane does not spend 2 years in the field before you get it. What our aim for this sugarcane produces that matures in 8 months, just like they do in Sudan and the like. So there are many efforts going on.
Yes, President, and that as counties, we have realized that going forward in agricultural production, we should focus mainly on natural production, natural food production systems. And as counties, we have set up, putting up policies on agroecology policies. Muranga is one of the first counties that has put up an agroecology policy. Vihiga has also put up an agroecology policy, and this policy aims to bring back agricultural production in a more ecological system, in a near natural system, where we produce, like, for example, organic fertilizer through organic materials. We are bringing in new technologies like using a black soldier fly to be able to have the decomposition of the organic materials quickly, and that we end up with the organic fertilizer. So we are moving away from, use of high inorganic fertilizers to using organic fertilizer through agroecological processes.
Okay. So let's again get back to our live audience. So I haven't taken any questions from this side of the gentleman. Your hand is up. And then I'll take the lady here. I have to be gender sensitive, or otherwise, the lady here, and then the lady here. Yeah. You have your hand was up. Please. So, yes, please speak.
Okay, my question goes to the governor of Kakamega. Okay, Governor, Kakamega is highly agricultural. What concrete county-level policies are in place to ensure that farmers adopt climate-smart agriculture to caution against unpredictable weather patterns?
Okay, how can farmers adopt climate-smart agriculture? Thank you. Yes, here the mic, yes, please, to the lady at the
If it's the projects that are being implemented, then you could suggest to this audience, other than the measures that the government has suggested that they are doing, you could suggest other measures that the county governments can implement to match the spirit of climatic decision.